You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Welcome to Screens of the Stone Age, the podcast where scientists review movies about prehistoric people. I'm Dr. Joshua Lindell. I'm a paleoanthropologist studying Neanderthals, and I'm here with...
I'm Dr. Kimberly Plump. I am a bioarchaeologist. I study the human skeleton, health and disease, and evolution.
And I'm Dr. Ross Barnett, paleogeneticist interested in phylogeny and evolution of felids.
And today we are reviewing the feminist classic, The Wild Women of Wongo from 1958. Possibly kind of feminist for 1958.
Really?
It made me burn my bra. I don't think it was friendly to anybody.
Well, who wants to summarize this movie?
Do you want to do it, Kim?
Sure. Mine's going to be fast and dirty. So,
Great.
We open up to a narration by Mother Nature, and she explains that her and Father Time have made all the humans, and they're all fine with that, but I guess they got a bit bored, and so they wanted to do an experiment. And they didn't say what they were aiming to accomplish with the experiment. I guess they thought it would be funny, so they made two human groups. One with all the women are gorgeous, and all the men are... what did they call them? Brutes.
Mm-hmm.
And then another population some distance away where all the men are gorgeous and all the women are not gorgeous. I forget how she put it. And then like the narration ends. And so now we expect that hilarity shall ensue because the ugly men get the beautiful women and the ugly women get the beautiful men. And that's just not the way the world should work. So
not in America.
And so we meet the tribe that has a beautiful woman. And yes, the women are all young and beautiful, and they're all in those 1950s like styled bathing suits, but made out of leather and cheetah print and all that, with little tight little belts cinching their waist, and they all look very cute.
You can see their shoulders and everything.
Yep. And the men, I don't know, there's nothing wrong with them. Some of them had blue hair. Otherwise, there was nothing like particularly wrong with them. They just looked like normal people. So it starts with one of the men. They go to the temple of the dragon, which has this beautiful woman who's in charge of it. And he says that the men
is she though?
Wongo.
So I'm just going to jump in. Mm-hmm. I thought she was supposed to be hideously ugly.
Oh, I thought she was beautiful.
Super unclear who is supposed to be ugly and who is supposed to be beautiful in this movie. Everybody kind of looks the same.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I thought she was like, she's like the priestess anyways. Yeah. But, so he goes to her and he says, the men of Wongo are ready for marrying. So we need to marry. And then she says, let's ask the dragon. So then they go down, they ask the dragon, which is an alligator. So it's very clear now that alligators play an important role in their spiritual world. And, I guess the alligator said, yes, you guys can marry. And so the guys are all chuffed and they're like, yes, okay, sweet. And they leave. And then at this point, a stranger comes, and the stranger is from the other town, which is Ganu or something. Guna. And he's good looking. He's a young Kendall type guy. And so he shows up, and he's coming to ask for help because there's 8 men who also, again, just look like men, right? Just regular people. Yeah, okay. Because I was having trouble keeping track of which group is which. So there's 8 men that are attacking their village, and so they need help. So they're hoping that they can form an alliance with Wongo and fight off the 8 men. But obviously one of the young women sees this handsome young man and realizes that men can be attractive and gets all hot and bothered. And then he sees her and he's like, I've never seen a woman like this before. And the other men are like, well, all women are like that. And then so the young man's like, oh my gosh, this place is a gold mine. And then I forget what happened. So then the woman, the young girl that he likes, asks her dad if she can marry him instead of the man she's supposed to marry. But he says no, because he's already made an alliance. Like he's king and she has to marry this other man's son so that they can form a strong alliance politically. And then the men start to get upset that this good-looking man might want to take the women. So then they say, well, we have to say no to this, helping them with this alliance because they might take our women. So let's just get rid of them. And then the other guy's like, well, we should actually probably kill him because he's going to go back and tell them about the women. Right? Am I saying this right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the woman that likes him, the young girl, hears the young woman, hears her dad and this guy and the men saying that they're going to kill him, and that she doesn't want that to happen because she's obviously falling in love at first sight. And then, so as they say goodbye to him, they start to attack him with a spear, but she runs out and saves him. He gets away. He goes back to his village and says, the fuckers tried to kill me. They're not going to help us on our own. But the women over there, my goodness, you should see the women. Woo! And then the women of his village, who again just look like completely normal women, are listening. And then they start to get pissed off because they're like, oh, the women of Wongo. Oh. And then what happens? I don't take notes like you. And then so in that, if we go back to Wongo, if we go back to Wongo, then what's happening is that the women are in trouble because they stopped the murder. And so as punishment, all the women have to go and each of them have to spend the night alone in the water with the alligator. And nobody's allowed to come home until blood is spilled. And I'm not sure if that means someone gets killed or one of them gets their period. So it's like a month long. I'm not sure which one it is.
No, I didn't think of that, but that's a really interesting point.
I didn't think of that either.
Yeah.
They do get out of it with a loophole. So I would have imagined they should have thought about that loophole. I think it's definitely supposed to be that one of them has to get eaten by the alligator before they're allowed to come back.
Right. So then the alligator does attack one of them and she fights him, does a really good scene. Everybody thinks she's dead, but she pops up victorious. And, so she's beaten the alligator.
She's the main character, isn't she?
She's kind of the main character, yeah. She doesn't have a name or anything.
Omu, yeah.
Oh,
her name is Omu.
Omu?
Omu. Or Omo. They're kind of inconsistent with how they pronounce their names.
Mm. And then, so the women go back to their Wongo, but then when they were gone, the 8 men came in and had to attack the village and killed all the men. So now they come back to Wongo and there's no men. And so the women are like, oh no, we can't survive without men. We're just women. And then so the young woman's like, well, you know what? Why don't we go to that place that has all the really good looking men and get their men and bring them here? And the women are like, yes, let's do that. So they go
That's a good idea.
Guna, and to steal the men. And when they get there, the young men have been sent away in a similar vein, but this is to become men. So they have to go into the woods for a month or the forest for a month and become men. If they survive, then they be like their fathers, then they become men, but they're not allowed to talk to any woman while they're on this quest. And so the women of Wongo come up and say like, hey guys, we're here, come live with us. And the men are like, no, we're not even allowed to talk to you. Plus you tried to kill me your family tried to kill me last time. And we're not coming with you. We have to prove that we're men and stay in this forest and not talk to women. And then so the women of Wongo are like, oh, damn it, they're not coming with us. Let's kidnap them. So then they wait till they're like separated, like predators and prey. And then they take each one of them down and hogtie them. And the men are not very happy about this.
They say,
but they don't really fight it. Yeah.
No.
And then, so the women take them back to Wongo. Is this right? And then what happened at the end? And then the men finally, like, they get untied, but the men are like,
they take them to the temple of the dragon god.
They take them to the men, right? And then say these are our men now. And then the woman, oh right, and then the goddess is like, how can they be your men if you have them tied up? And then she unties them, and then the men are like, no, we'll stay. This is cool. And then I guess that's
Wongo
it.
The Wongo men come back. The ugly
I thought
guys.
they were dead. Oh, okay.
No, they just scarper, but they come back, and then thankfully they can hook up with the ugly Guna women, and so everyone's happy. Social order is restored
now. Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the weird winking thing at the end where everyone winks at the camera.
Oh, maybe I watched a different version because I thought it cut off weird. Like, I thought it just ended weird, so maybe I missed that.
I don't know. Every couple, you see them side by side, and then the man turns and looks directly into camera and winks.
Right, yes.
Until we get to the last couple where Omu is the one who looks to the camera and winks.
Yeah, it was...
outrageous.
It was ridiculous. It was just all around bad people and bad relationship standards.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was bad.
Somehow still not the worst movie we've seen, though, for this podcast.
No, true.
No.
It might be the worst rated movie we've seen because it has a 2.7 out of 10 on IMDb. I'm not sure that we've seen much worse than that. Sorry, 2.4 out of 10 on IMDb.
I thought we had a 1 something once.
It's possible. 2.4 out of 10 is pretty bad on IMDb. This is like it's a perfect fit for our podcast. It's a classic caveman
bingo
movie
throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
But apart from a few bingos, there's fewer bingos than I was even expecting. And apart from that, I really have very little to say about this movie directly. I don't know if you've got any. There's no like good inspiration from real life paleoanthropology or anything in here. I guess we can start with the bingo tropes. We could go through all the bingo tropes that we hit.
Yeah. So there's
getting banished.
Getting banished. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The lead girl being the blonde one.
Mm.
Well, it's hard to tell. I think she's maybe a redhead. Her hair color changes scene to scene a little bit.
She's a strawberry blonde.
She's definitely blonde.
Yeah.
And then
off the shoulder dress numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Skimpy
leopard print.
Skimpy clothes on the women.
Mm-hmm.
There was no volcano, which is
that's true.
Yeah, that's true. Too expensive for this movie.
yeah. Stock footage of alligators as dragons or dinosaurs, sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
I was imagining maybe they're using the alligator god because they filmed this in Florida and that would be cheap. And maybe they wanted to have dinosaurs, but they couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
The scene you talked about, Kim, where Omu gets attacked by the alligator is really bizarre. Like, I was watching it like, oh, that thing's definitely dead because it's just not moving at all while she's like rolling around with it.
I don't think I think it's a strain.
Underwater.
I think it's just like,
but then she lets it go
again
at the end, and it swims off. So it's clearly alive. But is it just on an awful lot of drugs or what? I don't know. It was just crazy.
Just used to that. Like, that's just what it does every afternoon. It says some chick wrestle it like that.
It's also tiny. It's like,
it's not a big one.
Maybe 6 months old. But she gave everything for that scene. Like, she was very much giving it her all, like all the acting. In terms of kind of bingos, just the kind of annoying, ungrammatical caveman language that they use.
Oh yeah, the like mono, like the what is it? It's kind of me hungry.
Yeah, kind of racist stereotypes, cowboy and Indian style.
That's
language.
What I thought too. It kind of feels like the way Native people would talk in a 1950s Cowboys and Indians movie.
Yeah, the way a white actor in face paint would talk in a 1940s cowboy movie. One thing I noticed, which was quite funny, is this is the first film where you get a close up of, or the first film I remember for a while, where you get a close up of the women's hands. And they have very manicured, lovely, lovely nails, which doesn't really go with a kind of tribal life.
Well, neither does their coiffed hair.
No, that's true as well. Some of the young men in Wongo are clearly wearing like Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
Like, there's no attempt made to say, oh yeah, these are definitely kind of fur garments. No, it's just Bermuda shorts.
What was with the blue hair? Was that just to make them look ugly? I don't know.
Oh, I can explain this, I think. Like I said, there's very little to talk about directly in this movie, but there's a lot of stuff to talk around this movie. If you noticed at the beginning of the movie, it said it was filmed in Pathé color. Did you notice that?
No.
I did a little bit of reading about what that is. So this movie was actually filmed in black and white, and pathé color is a technique for colorizing black and white film, which obviously fell out of favor in the early 1960s once they started filming directly in color, right? And the way this technique works seems to be very labor intensive because you film it in black and white, and then you have to project it frame by frame, and an artist has to go in and trace by hand any area that they want to be a certain color. So they're creating a stencil, and they have to create a stencil for every single color that they're going to use. So the more colors you use in your image, the more stencils they have to trace. And then I don't know exactly how these film techniques works, but it's kind of like rotoscoping, where you have to trace out a stencil and then use that stencil to colorize the frame of film. And you do one for each color. So if you have like red, blue, green, and you can have them overlap so that you get, the shading, different shades in between, right? And so that explains the color partly. Now, the blue hair, I think some of the actors are made to look old. Like the king has blue hair. And I think that this is because they have sort of taken a can of like Christmas tree snow frosting, aerosolized Christmas tree snow, and they've sprayed his hair to look white to make him look old, because the actor is not actually that old.
Not that much older than her. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the combination. They have like spray painted his hair to look white to make him look like he's old, but then the combination of this color masking technique sometimes makes his hair look blue instead of white. And so I think that explains the blue hair. But the blue hair is a little bit jarring. It's a little bit weird.
But it at least helped when at least those two individuals, at least you knew which group they were in.
Yeah.
Because like you said, Kim, everyone looks the same. Like the hideously ugly men from Guna are actually, by 21st century standards, they're all trim and buff and not terrible looking.
Yeah, the
and
ugly men were in Wongo. It was the good looking men in Guna.
Oh, sorry, yes, you're right. Yeah, the ugly men of Wongo were like kind of 1950s Hollywood actors where ugliness was banned, so they're all kind of quite good looking. And
the ugly women,
the hideous,
they were all just average women.
Guna. Yeah, and even some of them are like quite attractive. Like there's one that's really tall, and she's stunning.
I think that's what makes her ugly, right? The ugly women. One of them is kind of fat. One of them is a little bit tall. And I think that's what makes her ugly in their minds. She also has her hair covering her face a little bit, so her hair isn't combed properly.
But I guess we're kind of, we're in a kind of win-win situation with our bingo tropes, because if, like in this film, they're all nicely coiffed, as we would imagine, hairstyles of the past would have been different, but they would have taken just as much care. That's a bingo trope, but also having messy hair.
In the style of the 1950s. They would.
Yeah. So unless they're bald, we're going to get a bingo square out of the actors in these films.
I think the difference between the handsome men and the brutish men is that the handsome men are clean shaven and the brutish men have a week of stubble. I think They described the stranger, Angor. I don't know if we mentioned his name. They described him as having a woman's skin. And I think a woman's skin, but a man's body. So I think they were referring to the fact that he was clean shaven. And I think that was the main difference between the men of Wongo and the men of Guna. But none of them even have beards. It's just like a week's worth of stubble. And that's the main difference between them.
I found that really funny when he said that you have a woman's skin. It's like the Blackadder II when they go on the boat and they get Captain Redbeard, played by Tom Baker, and he says something similar to Blackadder. You have a woman's hands. They've never scrubbed the deck with nothing but a dishcloth, and then the kind of conversation carries on, and it goes, you have a woman's legs. They've never seen the rough end of a 2x4 plank, kind of stuff. And it turns out that Captain Redbeard actually has no legs. because they were kind of bitten off by a shark. But yeah, that's what it made me think of. But the only thing I can comment on is that this is so obviously Florida, which would not have had Paleolithic humans. Like there's macaws. There's actually what was interesting is that they clearly show a Burmese python in this film, which are, funnily enough, native to Burma and Southeast Asia, but definitely not native to Florida in the 1950s. But they are now invasive, and they're like a huge problem in the Everglades. There's like thousands of them. But from what I was reading, they only kind of became established in the 1990s, maybe. Burmese python released as pets that just got too big and have now kind of exploded in numbers and eats a lot of rare Florida bird species. So yeah, it's quite weird that obviously there's lots of native snakes in Florida, but they showed a Burmese python, which then 40 years after this film was made, took over the Everglades pretty much.
Suspicious.
Maybe they left it there.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. Maybe the reason why Florida is full of Burmese pythons is because of the Wild Women of Wongo.
And it looked pregnant too.
Suspicious.
I also forgot to mention one of the main characters, which is a parrot that laughs maliciously throughout.
Yeah, a pervy parrot that just latches around and makes sort of snide comments. Crazy.
We also have the ape men, which is kind of a misdirection. We have this threat that there's a war coming from the ape men, but we only see 2 ape men in one scene where they attack the women of Wongo while they're on their quest to get one of them eaten by an alligator. And the ape men look exactly like all of the other men as well. They've got a little bit of stubble, so we know they're not attractive. But I think possibly the main difference is that they're more muscly. It's possibly that they were like slightly more bodybuilders than the rest, but all of them were bodybuilders except for some of the brutish men, oddly enough. One of them is super skinny. But I don't know if you could tell any other reason that the ape men were apes. They had clubs instead of spears.
They didn't have composite weapons. They also weren't very effective at attacking. So I don't really know why they were such a big danger.
Well, the Wongo men ran from them.
One thing I did notice, which sort of sent me down a little rabbit hole, this is something I think we've seen in other films from this time period, not set in this Stone Age, but like from the 1950s, 1940s, is that quite often people end up tied up. And so in this film, we've got the Guna men get captured in a variety of comical ways they get honey trapped essentially by the Wongo women in amusing and funny ways. And then they get kind of bound by the necks and by the hands. And this, I don't know if it's a trope, but it made me think of William Marston. I don't know if you guys heard of him.
Yeah.
No. So he is a really interesting character. He's the creator of Wonder Woman. So he was just he did lots of things, but somehow one of his sort of side quests was he invented the character of Wonder Woman. He lived with his wife and his mistress in like a polycule in the 1950s. He wrote a lot of Wonder Woman's early comics are her tying up people, and essentially it's sort of very light kind of bondage literature, essentially, and that was very much what he was into. And so it feels like there's like this is sort of bled over into some of the films we've watched, where they take a lot of delight in sort of showing men being tied up by women, or women being tied up by women, or women being tied up by men, all these kind of things, which is just slightly weird. There was the other film that we watched. All I remember is that the guy was tied up and got his daughter to give him a shave. Do you remember what that film was called?
Oh yeah, what was that?
That was the one with the produced by the father who had his son in it, who was a surf musician,
right, and sang the song
with Jaws as the caveman. Jaws from what's Jaws from? James Bond.
James Bond.
What is it called? It's called Ega. That's what it is.
I don't know how you have this memory.
That's very well remembered. I would have struggled. But yeah, that I seem to remember that had a lot of tying up, and it was clearly, I'm paying the money. I want to see people getting tied up because that's what I want.
Like Quentin Tarantino with the feet scenes.
Yes, exactly like that. And in the same way that it feels slightly skeezy to be watching a Tarantino film when he's got close-ups of Uma Thurman's feet or whoever's feet, you're just like, I don't really want to be part of this. Yeah. That's kind of what I felt like watching Wild Women of Wongo when all these people keep getting tied up.
I don't think I'm supposed to be seeing this.
I would recommend going down a William Marston rabbit hole. So other things I picked up on this Wikipedia deep dive was that one of his partners, he had several at the same time and everyone was cool with it. One of his partners was the niece of Margaret Sanger, famous kind of birth control pioneer. And also I think I'm right in saying that Margaret Sanger also did work on paleobotany or paleomycology, something like that. Yeah, and I think Marston also, one of his other things was he invented an early type of polygraph, something that measured systolic pressure and linked that to kind of elevated stress levels that come about when people lie. So yeah, interesting guy, and obviously inventor of Wonder Woman. Why she has the lasso of truth is because he just wanted to see her tie people up.
Right.
Well, it sounds like we've said everything we can say about the movie itself. So let's talk more stories around this movie. The movie is filmed at a particular location in Florida. We have this alligator temple, this dragon priestess temple. This is a castle in Florida known as the Coral Castle. Are you familiar? Did you read about this one?
No.
Yeah, I'd known about it before because of probably the reasons you're about to talk about now with kind of pseudo-archaeology and etc. But I'll pass that back to you.
So that's also why I was familiar with the Coral Castle. So this is it's called a castle. It was made by a Latvian immigrant named Edward Leedskalnin in around 1920. The story is that he was engaged. He was like 26 and engaged to a 16-year-old in Latvia who left him the day before their wedding. And so he was heartbroken. So he immigrated to America, where I don't know what he was doing other than building this castle, but he built this castle. It's called the Coral Castle, but it's not built out of coral. It's built out of oolitic limestone, which is I understand, a kind of porous stone, so the rocks might be a little lighter than you might expect for their size, but still tons and tons of stone. He allegedly built the entire thing by hand, mining the stone by hand, shaping it, and moving it all by himself without any help. He would only work in privacy. He wouldn't let anybody see him working. And so the whole thing is made up of over 1,000 tons of stone, the largest stones.
Totally how you get murder castles, though.
Murder castles? By having some mysterious guy build a castle and not let anybody see him build it?
Yeah, that's how, what's his name? Holmes.
Oh, yeah. H.H. Holmes.
H.H. Holmes, yeah.
He paid other people to make it for him, though.
Yeah, but he never let anybody see what was happening. All of it.
True.
This guy spent decades carving stone and building a castle. He didn't have any time to murder people. He charged people 25 cents to visit. He did tours of his castle and charged 25 cents, but it was on a donation basis. So if you couldn't afford 25 cents, he'd let you in for free.
Nice.
That's nice.
That doesn't sound like a murderer, I think.
Or it really does. Well, just come in for free then.
Do you have any family?
Yeah. The alligators need feeding. You can donate their dinner.
That's where his generosity ends, I think, because it sounds like he was sort of a capitalist work ethic kind of guy, and he said people who didn't have a good work ethic shouldn't be allowed to vote is basically his attitude. So it's funny that he was offering this charity to let people visit his place without paying admission when that was his attitude towards society in general. Anyway, the castle's a real castle. It still exists. He built it in the 1920s. I think he died in the 1950s. He died in 1951. He didn't have a will, I think, so it went to his closest living relative in the United States, and then it was, it changed hands a few times. It's always been privately owned. It is run today as a museum, so you can go visit it, and I was just looking this morning, you can actually rent it out for events, but the maximum number of occupants is 20, so you can have what they describe as a micro wedding if you want. You can rent it out.
Does that include the crocodile dragon god? Or is that extra?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I believe there is a pool or a pond associated with it so first of all, he started building this in Florida City, and then eventually he moved to Miami, and over 3 years moved this whole thing one piece at a time and reconstructed it at his new location, which is where it is now. And he continued to build on it there. So he mined more limestone on that property. So there are 3 quarries around it. And I think 2 of them were filled in, but one of them, I think, was turned into a pond or something. Okay. So that could be some of the filming locations they had there where they're doing stuff in the water. But I doubt that they have alligators in it intentionally these days, as they're using it as a museum. In the movie, we see in the wall, there is a huge stone door that rotates. Like it's like a rotating door. And that is real. That's a real part of the structure. He built it. And apparently it rotated so smoothly you could like push it with your pinky finger and open this door. And the door is 8 tons. It's a single stone that's 8 tons that swivels on its center. It worked smoothly until 1986 when it stopped working suddenly. And so they took it apart and realized how he did it. That he drilled a hole through the center and put a metal axle through and put it on a truck bearing. So it it worked smoothly until that bearing became rusted, and then they replaced the bearing, and it worked well until about 2006, and then it got rusty again, and they had to replace it. And so apparently it doesn't swivel as nicely as it used to, but
still impressive.
Still pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. And so when we see that door rotate in the movie, I was sort of imagining maybe they made a fake styrofoam block to put in that doorway, but that's a real stone block. And apparently it has a clearance of about 1/4 of an inch on either side. So it's perfectly fit. So it's quite impressive.
Yeah.
And now the mystery comes in the fact that he did this all in secrecy. He wouldn't let anybody see him work. He worked at night. There are photos of him working, so he has huge tripods and he's got like chains and block and tackle and the kind of stuff you'd expect. But he wouldn't reveal the secrets of how he did it, other than saying that he knew the secrets of the pyramid builders, which is all he would say. And at the museum now, there are like chains and tackle and all kinds of stuff that he used on display. And yet people can't imagine how one guy could move. He's also a small guy. He is supposed to be 5 feet tall. He's a tiny little guy.
He's just a little guy.
People can't imagine how a person could move these stones in the same way that they can't imagine how people in the past could move stones like this. So there's a whole mythology surrounding him saying that he had supernatural powers, or that he tapped into some sort of mystery science, magnets, right? And the reason I know about this structure comes from an episode of Ancient Aliens. So we can loop this back into pseudo-archaeology. And actually, this episode of Ancient Aliens is one on megalithic structures, and I use a clip of it in my classes, so I'm pretty familiar with the episode. But throughout the whole episode, they show you all these megalithic structures around the world, like Pumapunku and Sacsayhuaman and
Stonehenge.
Probably Stonehenge, right? But then they finish talking about the Coral Castle, and the story of Coral Castle is, how did people in the past move all these big rocks? Well, here, one guy in the present did it with no technology, so that proves it's possible. But Ancient Aliens flips it the other way, and they say, how did these ancient people in the past know how to do this? Here's a guy in the present that tapped into the same paranormal powers that the aliens did in the past, presumably. There's no necessary consistency when we're talking about ancient aliens, right? They don't suggest that this guy worked with aliens to build it. So I'm not sure why that supports the idea that aliens, were necessarily involved in the past.
I mean, maybe he was an alien. Who's ever heard of Latvia? That doesn't sound like a real place. He was only 5 feet tall because he was a grey.
There we go. Maybe you should write for Ancient Aliens. They're still putting out episodes. They could use a fresh take like that. What they do say in this episode, they have some talking head who's allegedly an expert on this guy, Edward Leedskalnin. He wrote a bunch of stuff in addition to being having bad capitalist politics and being a secretive guy who wouldn't let people see how he's working. He was otherwise described as an eccentric, and he wrote quite a few things. One of the things he wrote was a pamphlet called Magnetic Current, which I skimmed through. It's he really needed an editor. Obviously English wasn't his first language. It's a little incomprehensible.
On a scale of 1 to Time Cube, how insane is it?
I don't know how magnets work that well myself, so it's hard for me to tell.
Someone get the Insane Clown Posse on the phone right now.
Magnets can either prove aliens or God, depending on your perspective. But if you want to know how Ancient Aliens, the TV show, works, they just straight up lie to you, because this guy says, hopefully I wrote this down here. There's a quote from he's not a regular on the show, but he's a guy who's apparently an expert on Edward Leedskalnin and Coral Castle. And this is a quote from him. He says, Ed says in this pamphlet, Magnetic Current, that real gravity is actually real magnet. So if you reverse the magnet force with the force of some kind of electromagnetic radio, perhaps frequency, then you can make these rocks not as heavy as they seem otherwise. This is the quote from Ancient Aliens. And so I skimmed through this pamphlet. I did a bit of a control F. When he says here, he says that real gravity is actually real magnet. Apart from being nonsense, Edward Leedskalnin does not talk about gravity in this pamphlet on magnetic current. He doesn't say anything about making rocks lighter. And so Ancient Aliens is just straight up lying when they say this. In case anybody, any of the kids listening out there are still convinced by Ancient Aliens, they just straight up lie. In the same episode earlier on, they're talking about the stone blocks of Pumapunku, which is a site in Peru. I think it's like a pre-Inca site. And if you're familiar with megalithic sites, this is one where they have huge stone blocks that are cut very square. Some of them are cut into an H shape. And there's a whole bunch of blocks that are cut with quite a good degree of precision. They look very nice and square. They're nice and flat. And so David Childress, who is one of the regulars on Ancient Aliens, is there, and he's got himself a carpenter's square, and he's showing us how square these blocks are. And the camera zooms in, and he puts the square on the block, and you can see they're off by like a degree or two. And he's like, they're perfectly square. And as you can see, as he's rotating the square, and like, come on, man, we can see that you're lying. How can this be convincing to anybody?
I don't know. Look at like everything in politics right now.
Oh, dear.
So that's the story of the Coral Castle. The pseudo-archaeology Ancient Aliens crowd wants to turn it around and say this proves that people can tap into some sort of paranormal power or magnets or lasers or something, when in reality what it shows is one guy can move a bunch of big rocks. It's actually not that hard to move rocks if you have a basic knowledge of simple machines, right?
Yeah, simple physics. But yeah, it's like this one guy that moved tons of rocks shows that it was impossible for thousands of guys ages ago to move lots of rocks. But yeah, I mean, that's how I knew about the Coral Castle before as well, because it always comes up in sort of von Daniken and Ancient Alien kind of discussions. And even with kind of the way that bleeds over into creationism and that whole kind of crank magnetism. Like if you're like a crank in one sphere, then you automatically kind of gravitate towards being a crank in other spheres as well.
Yeah.
It's a whole pipeline of insanity.
Well, let's go on some more tangents here. This Crystal Castle is apparently the inspiration for the Billy Idol song "Sweet 16." Which is not a song I was strongly familiar with.
No, I don't even know.
The Coral Castle.
The Coral Castle is so it's called Sweet 16 because it was the story is that Lead Skaldin was left by his 16-year-old fiance, and then built this castle in honor of her or in memory of her. I'm not sure what his if he's thinking she's going to find out about it and be like, oh, you built me a whole castle in America, so I'll come and see you there or
in
whatever.
Florida. Fantastic.
Well, she's 16.
If you listen,
she is 16. That would have totally worked for me at 16.
It took him a long time to build it. She was an adult probably by the time he was done. But if you listen to the lyrics of that song, it's quite clear that he's talking about building a moon-shaped rocking chair, and these are like the kind of things that we don't see them in the movie here, but he built several of these like stone rocking chairs that are, we see this moon-shaped structure and like a Saturn planet-shaped structure there. But he built like tables. He's got like a heart-shaped table with stone chairs all around it and several of these stone rocking chairs as well.
Mm-hmm.
And now bringing it back around to the movie, tying through music, I, in researching the movie, also discovered there's a song from a band called The Tubes called The Wild Women of Wongo, which is basically just sort of a rock opera version of the movie. I'd never heard of The Tubes. Are you guys familiar with The Tubes?
No.
I'm familiar with the internet, which is a whole series of tubes.
The internet is a series of tubes. They did not know that at the time because this band is from the 70s and early 80s.
Okay.
They seem like an interesting band because they were big into like theatrical stage shows. And so the video that I watched is a live show from this band. And the main verses of the song are sort of like a talk singing kind of thing where the singer is kind of narrating. He's sort of telling the story of the Wild Women of Wongo, and then they have a chorus where they have backup singers singing some refrain about the Wild Women of Wongo. But they've got a huge stage with a big set with palm trees.
I mean, it sounds very Spinal Tap.
Very, very Spinal Tap. Very much Stonehenge from Spinal Tap. I'm thinking of doing more music episodes in the future, and if we could find more like this, we could do Wild Women of Wongo, Spinal Tap, Stonehenge. They fit perfectly in the same theme. Very, very similar. Okay. And when was Spinal Tap? 1981?
Yeah, must be about then.
And I think this song is from 1982 or 83, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were also very inspired by the Spinal Tap, Stonehenge, unironically. But maybe a little bit ironically as well, because it seems like this band was a little bit comedic as well. They have these huge theatrical shows, but I think that they're very sort of joking and tongue-in-cheek about a lot of the stuff. I don't know anything else they've done, but I read about them on Wikipedia.
We'll have
it
to
seems
link
like
to
this
the
was
song.
Their whole style. We will for sure. I'll put the link to this song in the show notes. But other than that, I don't have anything else to say about the movie. We hit a few bingo tropes, but there's It's not inspired by any real paleoanthropology discoveries. There are ape men in it. We have sort of mixing of modern humans and potentially other species, but to no real accurate degree that's worth talking about.
Well, and they just look like regular humans, so there wasn't even any like costuming that we could break apart or anything like that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, unlike the rest of the other movies we watched, there seems to be a lack of substance in the plot.
Yes, that is a trope. Another one is that they go skinny dipping. That's another another trope. They have boats. That's something.
They do. Yep. We do see a little bit of their technology in the beginning when we're introduced to the village. All the women are doing work while the men are sleeping, sort of setting up the vibe of the village. They've got
they have a spear.
Yeah, they've got the spears with these huge, like almost Salutrian kind of tips. But I don't know if you look too closely. The poles are bamboo and they're split, and the spears are big leaf-shaped spears. But they've got this weird, narrow, flaring base to tie them on.
They didn't look particularly stone-like. I thought they might have been shell or some other kind of material. But also, we get a definite time point in the little talk about Mother Nature and Father Time at the beginning. It's absolutely dated to 10,000 years ago. That's when the Wild Women of Wongo are. And there's also, I don't know if you guys notice it, but there's a weird. So when they're in the temple of the dragon god, the priestess, that we can't decide whether she's like stunningly beautiful or hideously ugly. She at some point metamorphoses into somebody totally different. They just do like a kind of weird cut where she goes from being this raven-haired brunette with long hair. She just sort of morphs into somebody with a crocodile head, and
then morphs back.
Yeah. And they do a funny little kind of 1950s style dance where there's a lot of kind of suggestive moving.
Well, like a very modern interpretive, 1950s modern interpretive dance,
like Mondo style surfers at the beach kind of dancing with hand waving and doing the twist kind of stuff. Just very bizarre. And she's also got, I think, like a mummified baby alligator on her arm. Which are we supposed to think that it's alive, or because she does stroke it as if it's alive?
Because she keeps petting it and kissing it.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be her pet or something.
And they also have a stuffed gator on a stick, which they seem to worship as their god in Wongo as well.
That's their sort of totem.
Their totem, yeah. And they get very upset when it falls over. Yes, a very odd film. But do you think, would it have been titillating for the time with like seeing all these like hourglass Wongo women in off-the-shoulder leopard print, exposed ankles and everything with that, and dancing?
I think it probably would have been a bit exciting.
That has to be largely the point, or what they're trying to like market the movie as, because if you call it the Wild Women of Wongo, that's what people are going to be expecting. They do have the skinny dipping scene where you can see the women swimming underwater from a distance. You do have a cat fight later on. Where one of the women, I can't remember what they get upset about, but I can't remember. One of them wants to go to Guna, and one of them doesn't want to go to Guna or something. So the two of them get into a fight and they're rolling around.
Oh, and then she says, "Let's kill her." Right.
Yeah.
And then the other woman's like, "No, we don't need to kill her." Very Lord of the Flies, real quick, right?
Yeah.
Like the blonde woman got just the tiniest taste of power, and then it's like, "Let's kill
her." Yeah, it's strange to think that this could have been the movie that prompted the sexual awakening of one of our grandparents. Isn't there thinking about?
Perhaps, and maybe the interest in binding.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap it up for the Wild Women of Wongo?
We've managed to squeeze quite a lot of juice out of what was a very sour bit of fruit.
Is it a so bad it's good worthwhile watch for people, or is it just bland? I watched the whole thing on 1.5 speed and it was better for it. It's pretty slow paced.
Yeah. after the first 10 minutes, I went to 1.25, and then I went to 1.5 after 20 minutes, and then all the way through at 1.5.
And then I forget that it's at 1.5 because it just seems like a regular paced movie.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's way too slow.
That's it. It tells you something about the pace of modern life.
Yeah. I would say that it's not the worst movie we've ever seen. Like, it's not one that you're going to like turn off and be like, my brain is melted. I hate the world. Let's burn the film industry down. But it's not the best movie. So if you like cheesy, dumb movies, it's fine. It's only 70 minutes of your life. It's
fairly inoffensive as well, considering it's from the 1950s. It's not, it's not like...
There was no rape.
They're almost trying to... Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There's no kind of offensive... there's not many deliberately offensive stereotypes.
No.
They're trying to kind of play around, I think, a bit with the ideas of, a monolithic social norms. Why can't women have a bit of sort of self-control and decide who they want to get with and not be sort of forced to marry ugly brutes?
Well, only because ugly brutes ran away from the ape people.
No, but she meets him before they've run away and falls instantly in love with him. The guy.
Yeah, but she wasn't allowed to marry him.
No, true. But the dragon god says it's okay at the end, and that's fine.
Yes.
What does she say? She's like, "Why not?" or something like that.
I also love that they've got very kind of 1950s. Los Angeles, California accents as well. All the women in it, because they don't have to speak in the kind of ungrammatic language that the men speak in. So they're like, "Hey guys," it's like the screwball comedies of that time period, just sort of fast talking and animated. That's quite amusing.
I have a feeling that most of the people, well, first of all, if you look at this page on IMDb, none of the actors have photos. I think the majority of the men were bodybuilders and the majority of the women were dancers. I think that sort of explains the acting a little bit.
Right.
And none of them have any other films to their credit, looks like.
Yeah. Except for there's one of the men who has a small role. Went on, I don't know, I'm not familiar with him myself, but he went on to be popular in like the Italian swords and sandals style movies of the 1960s. So there's a chance we might cover something that he's in later on, since we do cover that kind of movie once in a while.
Yeah, cool.
Do you have questions, comments, or movie requests? We want to hear from you. Find us on Blue Sky and Facebook at SOTSA Podcast. Send us an email to screensofthestoneage@gmail.com or visit our website at screensofthestoneage.com.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.
My Audacity is not responding for some reason.
Oh.
That's what it did to me last week.
Sabotage. They don't want the truth to get out. It's ancient aliens are onto us.
Yeah, everyone else keep yours going. I'll just see what happens with mine here, and maybe I'll have to use the Zoom file
and cut this bit out.
Yeah, I'll cut this bit out.
Yeah, it's riveting podcasting.
Okay, so let me try and pick up naturally and see if I can cut this back together properly.